ready for some football for week 5. Week 5. Week 5. Week 5. Week 5 for the NFL Sunday games. Over a quarter ish, 17 games don't really, you math with an F. Yeah, so by now it's starting to get to the point where we know that I was like, if you want to start doing something, you better start it now because it's getting really close to the point where everybody's gonna start saying, "Hey, what we doing this off season?" Because it looks like vacation time. Don't get me wrong, you still got a couple more weeks, but this is the part where it's like, got to start building on something, building on something. Now, I was like, not saying that the Bears have a chance at the playoffs, but I'm saying they got to win, so therefore, building something. And that's where we're going to keep going with this, just to see how things going to go. Starting with Jags and Bills. Now, early morning game. Jags has already done this, so to be their second week in a row. I was like, Bills coming off a dominant victory versus the Dolphins. Jags, not a dominant victory versus Atlanta, but they got a win after they just came off a loss. So, in this, it's like, who needs to win more versus, I guess, like, what's going to happen here? So, I was like, I think the Bills are going to win. I think they just got a little bit more momentum going on. Jags haven't really been crushing it. Like, they've been up and down all year. Whereas the Bills, outside of week 1, they have pretty much been like killing it. I was like, the offense been on point and the defense as well. So I was like, I don't see why that necessarily would stop here. It does suck with White being gone for the Bills. Miller's not exactly back yet, but I still don't think that will deter anything from this game at all. I was like, I think Josh Allen and Diggs is still going to have a pretty dominant game. So I'm taking the Bills in this one. All right, so Giants and Dolphins. Can we say time to correct a mistake? And who do we have? A team that is a get on that train. Because the Giants, even though they've been pretty woeful, and I don't think they're going to stop here. I think the Dolphins put an ass whooping on them. Not only because, like how they lost to the Bills and they sort of got to like repair that, I guess you could say. But also the Giants doesn't have any confident points at all of them coming out and being worth a damn. I was like, the offense hadn't been hitting on anything. Barkley's not going to be back. So I'm like, the Dolphins got all their people pretty much ready to go, and I can't think about anybody who's going to really stop them. So I'm putting the Dolphins, and I feel like they're going to at least win by like, I'm gonna say 20. That's what I'm gonna go with, being the Dolphins fan. But going to the next set, Panther versus Lions. I'm also not gonna pick. I'm not gonna pick them in this situation. I think the Lions are going to come out and beat them, and I think this is more of their offense being able to consistently put up points and having some type of direction versus the Panthers' offense. Like Young is still feeling himself and feeling out that way. They can blame it on the receivers they want to, but I think there's more complications with the team. I was like, the line hadn't been looking as great. I was like, they could run the ball. I was like, we'll see if Sanders is able to make a go. And I was like, Young just also processing the field and stuff like that. Sometimes he looks, I was like, he's a rookie, so sometimes it looks great, and like maybe his receivers don't hold they in, but then sometimes it's just like, come on, man, and then it's all on him. I was like, the defense been okay for the Panthers. I think they've held them as much as they can, and then you just don't really get any points out of it. So you just break at that point. And the Lions defense has also been really good too. That I think that's also going to be a problem for Young in this game. So I'm gonna pick the Lions to come out in this one. All right, so we got Ravens and Steelers. Division game, always pretty tough. I'm gonna pick the Ravens here. I think I was like they're apparently getting a few people back healthy, so that's always good. The Steelers, their offense has already have been like trash. Pickett is coming off of being hurt, so that doesn't help anything at all. Um, and the Ravens, like no matter what type of injury they have, they're always pretty much still the same team. I was like, Lamar with the weapons, without the weapons, doesn't matter. He's gonna be Lamar. The defense, I was like, with these players, without these players, doesn't matter. They still sort of play up to their level of what we expect from the Ravens. And the Steelers' defense, which I was like, it's normally what keeps them in the game for the most part. They also have a limit too. Now, I was like, don't get me wrong, I can see the Steelers pulling out a win just because, Tomlin and the practice and all this other stuff. But, and maybe they do got a little upset because I was like, the Ravens are sort of due. But in the end of the game, I don't see that. I think the Ravens take the victory. I don't think it's going to be crazy, stupid, or dominant, or nothing like that. Because, like I said, the Steelers defense is still good. And I think they'll get after Lamar better than Cleveland does at this. But all right, so Patriots and Saints. This one sort of hard. On one hand, it's like it would seem obvious. Saints take them, duh. But Carr still got the lingering injury, and they hadn't played well. They didn't play well last week. Couldn't really score points. I was like, Belichick's trying to do a little something with getting J.C. Jackson. We'll see how that goes. I think it'll help. But they got to sort of just redo all that taste out of everybody's mouth. And I think this game's gonna be ugly. I don't think either one is gonna be like running away from each other as much as it's gonna say. I'm gonna go with the Patriots to win this game. I just think something's gonna happen, and the Patriots somehow gets a victory here. Otherwise, it's gonna just be ugly for Mac Jones later, because that's not also good either. Texans versus Atlanta. I sort of was on the Atlanta train a little bit earlier this year, and they sort of disappointed. They got too many weapons on their offense to be putting up hardly any points. And with saying that, while their defense has been okay, it's an improvement. I think the Texans are going to come in here and take a victory. I think that what we've seen from Stroud is that the line has been doing a lot better than it was the first couple of weeks, and that has been like the really different because Stroud, he can stay in the game, like he can always stay in the game, but now actually having like protection and actually being able to them moving him in the pocket and stuff like that, I was like, gives him a chance to actually show what he could do, and I think they're gonna get a third straight victory. Who would have thought for the literally Texans just not too long ago? Speaking of their division rivals, I guess you could say, Titans and the Colts have a game, and if this is not sort of the perplexing of the game, because you have the Titans who you don't know what you're going to get out of them. You know they're going to play hard, but you never know what they're going to get out of them. Versus the Colts, who have an ability of getting off to a slow start and then picking it up. I think that we're going to get a good Titans here, and I think they're going to beat the Colts. Not for the try of Richardson in the offense, but I think they're just gonna try and get the rookie in a lot of places on defense in a way that's going to lead them to getting the victory, more so than the Titans offense. Like D-Hop has been playing good, and Henry still showed that he can run, but but I think it's more their defense that will get them the win versus Richardson and the Colts. Bengals and Cardinals. This could turn ugly really quickly for the Cardinals. Not for the Cardinals, for the Bengals. Cardinals playing with cash money in all their games. They should have a record that's basically like, oh my God, how are they winning all these games? That's how well they've been playing. The Bengals, on the other hand, have been not, and they got one that sort of was about a skin of their little I think the Cardinals get them. I think the Cardinals get them. I think the Bengals are going to be like, yo, this is a victory we should get. I think they're going to try to come out and get them really early. And I was like, I think they're going to score on them really early. I think they're going to get them. They're going to get chase the ball because he made a statement. I think they're going to try it out really early. And then I think after that, it's just going to drop and just stall. And I think the Cardinals are going to come out and just slowly just chunk away and just end up winning the game. They hit the Cowboys in the mouth, and they were able to stay with the Niners until they couldn't. And guess what? The Bengals ain't that team. So I think I'm gonna pick the Cardinals to come up and pull the upset in this, if you want to call it upset. All right, Eagles and Rams. I think fun game. First of all, I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think the Rams are gonna get the upset, I guess you want to call it, in this situation. I think the way that Matthew Stafford is able to get the ball out, I don't think Coop is going to be able to play here, but I think I think he'll be able to get through their defense, who hasn't been dominant. They've been okay. They've been good at times, Carter and stuff, but their defense, they've been holy at the same time. And the offense had it always spurred. They've been spurtering a couple times. They're not a fine oil machine. So I was like, I think the Rams are gonna get them. I think they're gonna get them, and their defense has been able to hold as well too. Like their defense is great. Donald's still good and stuff, but they're not great. But they also been able just to hold and just hope that the offense get points. And I think that's just pretty much how they're gonna go. I was like Chiefs and Vikings. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here. I think the Vikings, they haven't really showed that much enough for me to be like picking them against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs beat the Jets, and they had a bad game. Bad game on defense, bad game from Mahomes, and on offense, and they still won. And I'm like, they're playing against the Vikings, and it just seems like a game that they should be able to play them like toe to toe. But the Vikings, cousin, I think they're gonna do something that's gonna cause them to lose. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs just because they've just shown that no matter what you do to them, they still find a way to win. So I'm gonna go with them. Jets and Broncos. My God, this is gonna be a game that's gonna be worth the storylines. Hackett returning back to the Broncos, Wilson versus Wilson, two teams that basically could be 0-4 or 0-3, but also aren't by just miracles at the same time. Even though Wilson could have beat the Chiefs in that game like not too long ago, and the Broncos had a chance of beating the Commanders and stuff like that too. But I think the Jets are going to win this. I think they're playing against a tougher defense. I think while Zach is not playing against a tough defense, Russell is playing against a tough defense. So I don't imagine the comeback is going to be the same way. I think they'll be able to. I think it's going to start out slow, but I think they'll end up just working the Broncos. Because unlike the other team, you get up on the Broncos with that defense, they'll be able to stop what you're doing. And I think Payne's gonna have a lot to answer for at the podium. That's how we're gonna get with that one. All right, so our Sunday night game, Cowboys and 49ers. Finally, a Sunday night game that we could all be up for and watch. Hopefully, because it can turn ugly. It can turn ugly. I'm just saying, early on, Dak played like some boo-boo with this 49ers team. Because Dallas is not the team to me that comes back. And against the Niners on top of that. But I actually think that this is actually going to be a pretty competitive game. And I actually think the Cowboys will pull it out. Yep, I said it. The Cowboys are going to pull this game out. They're going to be able to hold their own. Because I'm saying that because I feel like this game is going to be a field goal win. for the Cowboys, but counts for anyway. I think whatever I was like the mistakes he didn't have in the last couple times playing, I think Son's gonna like be in that same situation, and this time he pulls out. But I don't think they're gonna run. They're not gonna run away. Not too good for that. Both defenses are fast and electrifying. But the Cowboys should have the offense to keep up with the 49ers and their offense. I was like the weapons versus weapons. They all got weapons. They all got a way to utilize them all. It's just that it's the Cowboys, McCarthy, and Dak is going to put in the game plan needed to. And stick with the game plan even when the Niners are going to get up on your ass. Also, stop McCaffrey. Whatever you do, you can slow down McCaffrey. I was like, look, I feel like you could, Kittle, Debo, you stop McCaffrey, you at least got a shot. The problem is, them boys are that good where they get open after that. So, but anyway, I'm gonna pick the Cowboys for this. Anyway, those are my predictions. Feeling a little bit more solid with my picks this time. Sometimes I'll be wavering. Sometimes, I'm like, I don't know what kind of week is it, blah, blah, blah. But nah, this week, feel like, we got this locked down properly. Anyway, who you think gonna win? I was like, you got any other analysis? Let me know you like the video. If not, hey, maybe next time. But until then, see you after these games.